Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news overnight at 1 a.m. Police announced they arrested a man in connection to a dozen shootings that happened this week along I-40 and in neighborhoods around Raleigh and Cary. The charges he's facing as he is set to make his first court appearance this afternoon.
And we have a dense fog advisory in effect for parts of the viewing area this morning. As a matter of fact, it just was expanded to include most of the viewing area. We'll talk about what it will look like as you head out the door.
And construction starts today on the new Durham School of the Arts, the groundbreaking for this multi-million-dollar project. What a week it has been, and yes, we made it to Friday. Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, great to have you along. Glad you're with us and made it through this week as well. It has been a wild one. Lots of details to get to here this morning, starting with Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with that dense fog advisory.
We do have that dense fog advisory in effect for most of the viewing area. It doesn't include the Northeast, but it doesn't mean that you won't see any fog there. We take a look at what's happening out there currently. It's a mile in Durham and Raleigh, so the Triangle area has been the worst of it so far. But fog tends to change really quickly. It can look just fine, and about 15 minutes later, we can see a lot of dense fog. So it's a changing situation. You should check in with us before you head out the door. Checking Apex, it definitely looks foggy here on the camera as we look down Salem Street. We check out Futurecast. We're mostly clear this morning. We may see a little drizzle with some of this fog, and we have a cold front that'll come through during the evening, and that could bring a quick sprinkle, but the amount of rain that we see today is pretty minimal. Notice that we get to a 20% chance during the evening. We take a live look at Clinton this morning too, and it looks okay there in Clinton. Certainly we can see down the street there. It is 67 degrees with a dew point of 65, so it's warm and muggy, and we get hit 80 degrees again today. But I'll show you why the front could really cool our temperatures down significantly for the weekend.
Breaking news just before 1 this morning, we learned a 23-year-old is facing charges for a string of shootings along I-40 and around southwest Raleigh. Andrew Graney is charged with several felonies after police say he carried out a dozen shootings this week, taking aim at cars and homes and injuring at least one person. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the Wake County Justice Center. And Kelsey, Graney will be making his first court appearance this afternoon. Yes, Renee, 12 shootings in 4 days, and now one man is in custody. 23-year-old Andrew Graney is expected to appear here in court later this afternoon, and our cameras were there as he was charged with multiple felonies overnight, including assault with a deadly weapon and discharging a weapon into an occupied dwelling or vehicle. This all connected to a series of shootings along I-40 in southwest Raleigh this week. One woman was hurt, 8 vehicles and 2 buildings were shot at between Monday and Thursday. Sky 5 was there as more than 24 officers arrested Graney in a southwest Raleigh neighborhood. Another man was taken into custody. He was later released and not charged. Graney is scheduled to appear here in court at 1:30 this afternoon. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
NC State students received a wolf alert after 2 cars were hit by that gunfire. It happened very close to NC State's Centennial campus yesterday. Students say they feel safer now knowing the police have someone in custody. Some say they took different routes to campus to avoid I-40. Student Maria Smith talked to WRAL and gave her reaction to getting the initial alert and now hearing police have a person of interest in custody.
Kind of scared me because that's a pretty serious thing, and my parents are also coming down this weekend and they have to use I-40, so I sent it to them and I was terrified. It's very relieving because, I don't have to worry about when my parents come, there's something happening. I have friends who drive and we're often using the I-40, so it feels a lot better to know that he's away and that I don't have to worry about it anymore.
NC State Police assisted Raleigh Police due to the proximity of that shooting to campus. Security on campus was increased while officers patrolled the area. Today, campus business should be back to usual.
New this morning, NBC News projects that President-elect Donald Trump has won Nevada in the presidential race. This announcement came around 12:30 this morning. Trump lost the state's 6 electoral votes in both of his previous runs for the White House. So this is the first time, and this is also the first time since 2004 that a Republican has won Nevada. The state went for George W. Bush that year.
This morning, the race for control of the U.S. House is getting closer. This is a live look on the right side of your screen here at the Capitol building, where Republicans and Democrats are waiting to learn who will be leading the House in January. As of this morning, 24 House races are still left to be decided. NBC News has called 211 races for Republicans, 200 for Democrats. A party needs to win 218 seats to have control of the House. Republicans are hoping to have control of both chambers. They took the Senate in Tuesday's election.
Josh Stein announced the names of the people who will help him transition from the Attorney General's office to the governor's mansion. Stein defeated Mark Robinson in the governor's race on Tuesday, and he named 6 people who will help him hire staff for his new administration. The team includes the Department of Justice Chief of Staff, the mayor of Asheville, a former state senator, and more. You can read the full list at WRAL.com.
This morning, Durham Public Schools will break ground on the new Durham School of the Arts. And WRAL's Heidi Kirk joins us live from Durham. This is a multi-million-dollar project that's been a year in the making. Heidi, good morning. So just a couple of notes on what Heidi was saying there before audio issues. $240 million has been set aside for Durham Public Schools to take the first step in this construction. It's a 100-year-old building in downtown Durham. So the new building is going to be in North Durham. And this is a look at that plot of land where that'll be. It'll feature more than 100 classrooms, a music building, an 800-seat concert hall. And this is a rendering of what that'll look like. Groundbreaking will be at 9:30 this morning, and we'll check back with Heidi in the next couple of hours, get another look at that.
Starting tonight, a ramp onto I-440 is closing for construction work. The ramp from Melbourne Road onto 440 East will close at 9 tonight. Crews plan to have it closed for 9 days as they work to build a new entrance ramp. It will be closed until 5 a.m. Monday, November 18th. Drivers will be detoured onto Powell Road to get onto 440 at Western Boulevard.
Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals played quite a thriller on Thursday Night Football. Lamar Jackson threw 4 touchdowns. The last was that short pass to Rashad Bateman with just under 2 minutes left, put the Ravens up by 7. Joe Burrow then drove the Bengals right back down the field through that fourth quarter touchdown to Jamar Chase. Got the Bengals within 1. They didn't want to go to overtime, so they tried to win it with a 2-point conversion. The pass from Burrow right here falls incomplete, and that's it. The Ravens get the win, 35-34.
WRAL and Fox 50 are your homes for NFL football this Sunday. First at 1 on Fox 50, the San Francisco 49ers travel to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. And then at 7, turn it over to WRAL for Football Night in America. On Sunday Night Football, the Houston Texans will host the Detroit Lions. Kickoff is at 8:15.
The FBI is investigating a series of racist text messages sent to Black Americans across the country this week.
Odd, ominous feeling text message basically saying, hello, you've been selected to be a slave on a plantation.
We will hear from those people who say this has left them feeling quite scared.
And Israeli soccer fans attacked in Amsterdam after leaving a game last night. Chris Lovingood will join us from the WRAL Live Center with new information from Amsterdam police on how many are in the hospital.
And we'll give you this live look right now, the WRAL newsroom in Fayetteville. And good morning to those folks there. A pretty warm start today for everyone, and fog in some areas we'll be keeping an eye on. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us when we could see some spotty showers tonight as well.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It's 4:42, and we're starting off with a dense fog advisory for most of the viewing area. The lowest visibilities so far have been right around the Triangle area, but fog can come and go fairly quickly. So keep checking in with us as things could very likely change as we get through the next hour or two. We take a live look at Wilson this morning, and the whirligigs are still, and that is one of the ingredients for fog. It has to be nice and still for there to be much fog developing. If the atmosphere starts moving around, the fog just doesn't have much of a chance to develop. 65 in Wilson, 67 Durham, 67 in Fayetteville. And we take a look at what you'll see heading out the door. Again, some patchy fog, some cloud cover, and mild temperatures in the 60s. So kids getting off the bus this afternoon, temperatures close to 80 degrees.
Chris Lovingood here in the WRAL Live Center with a breaking news story unfolding in Amsterdam overseas. Investigators there say 62 people were arrested and at least 5 people were hospitalized after Israeli soccer fans were attacked after a game. I want to show you video that's just into the newsroom within the past hour here, where you can see clearly people running through the streets. Investigators saying that fans were even beaten in the streets. Now, we do know that police said on social media they have started a major investigation saying that anti-Semitic rioters were the ones who attacked these fans at this soccer match. Israel has announced it was sending planes to the Dutch capital to fly fans home. We, of course, will be continuing to comb through social media to find other video from this and to get more information from investigators regarding the 62 people who were arrested.
Black Americans across the country say they are getting racist texts. Some believe they are connected to the results of the election. Social media sites have been flooded with people who say they've gotten these messages. The messages say they've been chosen to be slaves on the nearest plantation and gives a time when they will be picked up.
I think that this is intentional to scare people of color, Black people, into a reality that we don't want to go back to.
The FBI is investigating the origin of the messages.
All right, take a look at this. Video from New York State shows that box truck plowing through a highway work zone, hitting one of those workers' trucks. It happened on Interstate 81. The worker who was standing nearby just narrowly escaped there. New York DOT says there were no serious injuries. It says that video should serve as a reminder to stay alert, slow down, move over if possible when driving through a work zone. That is a law here.
5 on Your Side is talking taxes now to save you money later. Tune in Wednesday from 4 until 7 p.m. for Tax Pros on Call. This event is all about tax planning. Federally licensed enrolled agents will be taking your calls about everything from adjusting your withholdings to dealing with penalties and changes to tax law. Best of all, this is completely free. So get your questions ready and you can call Tax Pros this Wednesday.
Today, Durham County will celebrate veterans. The annual recognition and celebration program starts 11 a.m. at Durham's Human Services Building. This is video of last year's event. This year's theme is loyalty and service, honoring all who served, intending to recognize the contributions of every veteran, regardless of branch or length of service. The event is free and open to the public.
And this afternoon, Fayetteville's airport will be unveiling a flag honoring fallen soldiers and first responders. The memorial gets started at 2 p.m. on the second floor of the airport. The flag is made from 73 name tapes nominated by family members and friends of fallen service members. 16 families specifically requested a flag to be replaced in Fayetteville Regional Airport with the remaining names from fallen officers across the U.S.
If you use the state health plan, you're going to want to keep an eye on your mailbox. You will receive new member ID cards with the shift to Aetna now. They're going in the mail by November 22nd, and this is the first time in 4 decades the state health plan has changed companies. That change and your new cards take effect January 1st.
Parents familiar with daycare know sending your baby for the first time can be overwhelming, and many struggle with anxiety and guilt. Fortunately, there are some easy ways to make the transition smoother for you and your little one. First, ask around with other parents and community members about which daycare would be a good fit. And after you've identified a few options, take the time to pay those places an in-person visit. That way you can be sure your child's center will prioritize safety during sleep and play. Finally, daycares are often noisier than many homes, so prepare them for noise and new sleeping arrangements.
Child care experts recommend acclimating babies to sleeping with the sound of quiet voices all around them, or for toddlers to use a cot at home to get them used to sleeping on an unfamiliar sleep surface.
Okay. Something else to remember, it is common for children to experience a spike in illness after starting daycare. So discuss this new transition with your pediatrician and be vigilant about hand washing and vaccinations.
It's just never easy, is it? But it builds up their immune system, right? Elizabeth Gardner is over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, keeping an eye on this dense fog advisory. Saw it coming in from Apex this morning.
Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot when I was coming in this morning, but definitely there is fog. We'll take a look at the Apex camera, and you can see it really well there. Patchy fog likely to be visibility down to around a quarter of a mile or less for most of the viewing area. We've dropped down to a mile in the Triangle. We just dropped down to half a mile in Rocky Mount. And fog tends to be a fairly fluid thing. So as we get through the morning, we'll see this map changing pretty regularly. So keep checking back in, and you'll see if we're seeing any fog developing in your area. Definitely looking at some low cloud cover and fog here in North Hills. You can see those clouds there as the lights from the buildings sort of reflect on the bottoms of those clouds. We will be variably cloudy this morning. Could be a little sprinkle, might be a bit of drizzle with some of this fog. We'll see a cold front that comes through this evening, and there's a very small chance that we would see a sprinkle or a shower with that. There's also the potential to see a bit of sunshine this afternoon too, and it's going to be another very warm day with a high around 80 degrees. Here's a look at Apex, and again, as we're looking down Salem Street, you can definitely tell that visibility is pretty low. 67, our temperature, our dew point is 65. We're going to have to talk about our muggy meter. That is not something that we hardly ever have to talk about in November, but with our temperatures in the 80s, there's lots of moisture in the atmosphere. 80 in Raleigh, 79 in Durham, and 83 degrees in Fayetteville for it today. Weather watchers looking gorgeous. Gary Holtzman sent us this from Buxton. So pretty. Fishermen out there enjoying either a sunrise or a sunset, and we'd love to see your weather watcher photos too. Go to WRAL.com and search Weather Watchers. Here's that muggy meter. We're sitting at what we would consider tolerable today in the mid 60s. But honestly, it's November. I'm not sure that it's tolerable. I think it feels pretty steamy out there. But, we should keep everything, normal, not change it up during the year. Very comfortable on Saturday, but watch that jumping right back up to, feeling the humidity again by Monday. So it's definitely an interesting weather pattern for us. So we're starting off with well above normal temperatures. We will see some cool air that starts to filter in as we get into Saturday and Sunday, but it doesn't stick around for long. We go from 80 today to 60s Saturday and Sunday, and then back into the 70s Monday and Tuesday. We don't have any more 80-degree days in our 7-day forecast past today. Saturday, again, will be cooler. Game time temperatures will likely be in the mid-60s as Duke takes on NC State at home, so that should feel pretty comfortable and will be nice and dry. Now, late Sunday, some showers will roll in and may continue to hang around through Veterans Day. I'll show you the timeline coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. And still ahead this morning, people in a South Carolina town have found themselves in a real-life game of Jumanji. The search happening this morning for over 40 monkeys that escaped a research center.
And Santa is arriving today in Raleigh, when you can visit him and his elves at Crabtree Valley Mall.
.453 the time right now. Tonight, Dateline will have an in-depth 2-hour update on the Menendez brothers case. Here's Keith Morrison with a preview.
A sensational story we thought was over may soon have a new ending. The wealthy sons of Beverly Hills, convicted of murdering their parents, are suddenly everywhere.
I knew that this could upend the whole case.
I think people fabricate things.
We were up against the myth that boys aren't sexually abused, and upstanding people like my father aren't child molesters.
No one had ever seen televised testimony like this before.
We're viewing everything that happened back then through a different lens.
With eyes glued once again to the courts in Los Angeles, where Eric and Lyle await their fate. In a dramatic move, the DA recommended they be resentenced.
That the life without the possibility of parole be removed.
It's time to give them the opportunity to live the rest of their lives free from the shadow of their past.
Freedom might be in reach for Lyle and Eric Menendez.
Dateline's Menendez brothers' chance at freedom airs tonight at 9 here on WRAL.
Police are searching for more than 40 monkeys that escaped from a research facility in Beaufort County, South Carolina. This is a picture of what the monkeys look like. The primates escaped from Alpha Genesis, which works with monkeys to carry out clinical trials, including brain disease disorder treatments. It's unclear which trials the escaped monkeys were taking part in or whether they were exposed to any diseases. People who live in the area have been told to keep doors and windows locked and not to interact with them if they see them. In just a few hours, this year's Grammy nominations will be announced. That will happen live on the Recording Academy's YouTube page at 10:45 this morning. If industry predictions are correct, the 2025 Grammys will shape up to be Ladies' Night. Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, and Chappell Roan are behind some of this year's biggest albums. So it is possible some or all of these women will be named in multiple categories. The 67th Annual Grammy Awards will take place on February 2nd.
Halloween's behind us. It's starting to look a lot like the holidays at Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh. And this morning, Santa will be there at the mall along with the Salvation Army Angel Tree. Starting today, families can line up to tell Santa what they want for the holidays and get a picture. Pets can also meet Santa every Monday night leading up to Christmas.
High-fiving Santa. Well, Elwood Edwards, the voice of AOL's iconic greeting, "You've Got Mail," has died at the age of 74. More than 30 years ago, Edwards recorded that iconic phrase. Those words would eventually be heard by hundreds of millions of people and become a key part of the AOL experience, propelling Edwards' voice to worldwide fame. Edwards was a longtime North Carolina resident. He lived in New Bern and is survived by his daughter.
We're following breaking news for you this morning. A man has been arrested after 12 shootings along I-40 in 4 days' time. The charges he is facing.
And at least 10 people are injured as a wildfire in Southern California grows. The number of homes and businesses that have been destroyed.